Hello, everyone. My name is Jesse Pham, and welcome to the General Engineering Questions and Answers session. So in this session, we have Professor Jack Warke and Professor Ping Xu, who will be speaking to you during this session. We will start off with some brief housekeeping items, followed by the questions and answers session. So when you have a question, please use the Q&A button along the bottom to submit questions, and we will have to try to answer them in the order they were posted. So there's also a chat room for you to make comments or chat with your peers. And as a reminder, please use appropriate language while chatting or commenting. This Q&A session is designed to help both students and parents learn more about our program. And this session will last 45 minutes, and then we will encourage you to explore other sessions that may be of your interest. There are multiple programs and majors offering Q&A sessions today, and you can enter any sessions you want. And in fact, we encourage you to explore all we have to offer. So without further delay, I would like to turn it over to Professor Warke and Professor Xu.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you,
Welcome,
Jesse.
everyone.
Go ahead, Jack.
Well, I'm hoping that those of you that are on the webinar here had a chance to look at the presentation. But if not, again, and one reason that Professor Ping Xu and myself are here are to help answer any questions that may come up after reviewing the presentation. So feel free to, again, open up to ask some questions. Again, if you're raising your hand or writing it down, just please let us know and we'll address them. And again, welcome.
And you're all always welcome to email us if there's a further question that you like to ask after this session.
So we'll open up for questions. Not sure, Jesse, if you're getting any hands raised or.
So not yet. We're just gonna wait a couple minutes to see more Q&As.
Perhaps if we just open it up completely and then make it easier, and we start doing the hand thing.
Well, I've got a couple of questions that, again, are generally asked. So let me also introduce myself. I'm also a lecturer, so I have the, if you will, the experience associated with general engineering and introduction to engineering. It's a first semester or first year class most freshmen have to take as part of their major. But a lot of times in previous open houses or admitting Spartan Day, people would ask, why would a student go into general engineering? And generally there's probably two reasons for that. We have had a number, and still do, number of students that go into general engineering because they're not exactly sure what major they want to go into. So they're maybe deciding about whether they want to become an electrical engineering major, maybe a chemical engineering major, mechanical, whatever. They're not sure, but maybe they're balancing off one or the other. And so they take the opportunity, given that we have a general engineering program, since the freshman year, the classes in both calculus, for example, the math, the physics, the sciences are very similar to other engineering majors. They'll take general engineering and then generally after the first year make that decision about which major they want to go into. The second group that go into general engineering are people that have a specific career interest. And again, maybe it's not in a specific engineering major. Maybe they want to start their own company, an entrepreneur or so forth. Or maybe looking at working with a company that might be an engineering company, but they don't necessarily want to have, again, the specific engineering requirements. So maybe they go into project management or even engineering management, where it's not necessarily required to have that chemical engineering major or that civil engineering major. But again, understanding the engineering process, the skills required and knowledge required is going to be very similar to those other majors. So again, those are the two big reasons why people go into general engineering. One is, again, making sure that they choose the correct one and use general engineering as a platform to get there. And the other one is, again, students that already know what they want to do. But again, it's not necessarily in a specific engineering major.
Along that line, for the first 2 years of our curriculum, students take classes mostly the same as any other major in engineering. But for the last 2 years, at the junior and senior levels, we allowed students to take classes from any combination of different departments. This includes courses from, say, College of Business or College of Science and possibly College of Social Science. So that's one very unique part about general engineering.
A lot of times the question will come up in open house is, okay, if I'm in general engineering and I decide to go into a specific engineering major, is it a difficult job? I mean, does it take a lot of time? Well, depending on the major that you choose, for example, there is competition associated with that major. Could be, for example, computer engineering and software engineering, high demand for those type of majors. So your grade point average is very important. And one of the key things when you're looking at changing your major is doing well in the math and the science and the physics classes. Those are important. Again, when you're going to be competing against other students that are trying to get in the same major, having a strong foundation in those classes are very important. But generally the process takes maybe a semester or two. Again, once you've completed the same classes that other engineering majors have, that's how, again, part of the evaluation process is to see how you did in them.
So it looks like we're getting several questions. One is
good.
coming from Raul. He says, hi, so one, is it hard to sign up for subjects classes interested in? This seems like an issue at many colleges. I am planning to major in mechanical engineering. And two, I am interested in SAE club. How easy is it to join the club and participate? And three, how does the research opportunity at SJSU compare to UC's?
Well, I would say that if any of our visitors now is interested in a particular department, like in this case, apparently that Raul is interested in mechanical engineering, make sure you write down their time. I believe well, you can check the schedule. They have their own Q&A. So that is a place to ask any department specific or non-general engineering department specific questions. So, you know, we're not in the best position to answer a question that's specific to one department.
But there are, I think one of the things you mentioned, Raul, in your question was that at some schools, it's difficult to get these upper division classes. If, for example, it's a mechanical engineering, that's one unique aspect of our general engineering program is through Dr. Ping's efforts and so forth, many of the different departments have said, okay, these upper division classes, we'll allow general engineering students to take them as well, not just dedicated to that specific major. So, and again, I think that's what you were elaborating on, Raul. I could be wrong, but again, that's where, again, the aspects of general engineering make or enable, if you will, that flexibility.
And generally speaking, is it hard for students to get in the class? Generally speaking, across all majors, the answer is no, it is not. If a student start registration at the time he or she allocated to, and I would say just about in all cases, you can get in the class you want. And there are cases where the student did not quite take care of the registration until the very, very last minute. And only in those rare cases that there could be some difficulty in getting classes. How difficult it is to switch to general engineering major? No, it's not difficult at all to switch into general engineering. General engineering program is not among those majors that are more difficult, more competitive. So the answer to that question is yes, it's actually pretty easy to switch into general engineering. Jack, you want to take some of the questions?
Where are you reading the questions from?
Oh, you click the chat. Click on the chat. Oh, no, click on, wait.
There should be a button called Q&A on the bottom.
Yeah, I'm there, I'm there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, if I choose specific, how do I change different engineering majors? Okay, so again, how do I change different engineering majors? That's one of the aspects, again, from the College of Engineering. We have what's called the Engineering Student Success Center. Part of their responsibilities, again, is to help guide students in terms of the career path that they take, in addition to the major advisor. So one of the key things associated with that is we develop workshops, for example. This is how you change your major. If you're going from one major to another, this is the requirements. You, for example, create what's called the study plan. You identify the courses that, again, if you're planning to take that major, here are the courses that you would need to take. So that, again, you don't lose any time, or if you will, taking classes you really don't need if you're planning to change your major. That's why it's important, for example, if you're looking at changing your major, that you do it early and not too long in the process, because at some point you'll get to a point where, again, you pretty much have to decide, am I going to go into that specific major, or do I want to stay in general engineering? Where can I find a recording of this event? I'm not sure. Jesse, could you answer that one?
Yeah, so the recording for these events will actually be emailed out if they will be sent out by Audrey. So it will be after this whole session.
Okay. Given the current situation, what are the summer enrichment opportunities you suggest for me to do before I become a computer engineering freshman? Again, maybe what Professor Shu had mentioned, attending the computer engineering Q&A. I think that's a great question. If you're in computer engineering and that's where you're planning to stay, Aaron, then I would, attend the Q&A session for computer engineering. See, Mohammed, hello there. I have one question, but it doesn't show what question is, Mohammed. Let's see, Neil, hello. I've heard that it is uncommon for an engineering major at SSU to graduate in 4 years. How valid is this statement, and what can you do to ensure that they will graduate in 4 years? That's a great question, Neil, and we definitely encourage students, again, as part of, as I mentioned, the Student Success Center, we want you to graduate efficiently. In other words, we don't want you to take classes that you really don't need. It's always your option, of course, but for students graduating engineering, that's most students' goal as well, to graduate in 4 years. If you've got the necessary calculus coming in, the necessary math, if you will, and the physics background, generally 4 years is accommodable. You can do it. It's when you don't necessarily have the calculus, the experience, if you will, from high school, that you're coming in and maybe have to take pre-calculus the first semester. That's when you're probably going to have to look at maybe taking classes over the summer, and it could be general education classes, could even be major classes. But again, you can do it in 4 years, but if you're coming in a little bit late on the math or the physics side of things, it might take you another year in terms of graduating, maybe 5 years to graduate. But again, most students come in, we try to address it and try to make sure that, hey, here's your plan for 4 years. Here's the courses that you need to take, when you need to take them. And again, if it doesn't meet that 4-year catalog, here's what you can do, possibly taking summer classes.
Yeah, 4-year graduation, it is very much dependent on the students, not so much on the system or our course offering. Some students opt to take a part-time job. In that case, we actually don't recommend students to take a full load. In fact, we don't really recommend students to take a heavy part-time job during the regular semester time, of course. So it is very much on the decision of the students. Even you come in with some deficiency, even you come in require some sort of a remedial course, and you can still make it up over summer time.
Right.
I would say 9 out of 10 cases, students took more than 4 years. They were due to some interest of doing some part-time job or internship during the semester. So for various reasons, not other than they can get a classes or they can get in a class. So.
That's a good point, Professor Shu. And that, again, I'd like to echo what he just said in regard to many students do work part-time. In fact, we've had a couple students working full-time. But again, that would probably be responsibility outside the college where that could, impact or, if you will, impair your ability to graduate in 4 years.
Jack,
let's see.
There's a good question for you.
Which one? From Anonymous?
No, because you this is a question you get often. That's the one about general engineering change major to other major within the first year.
Yes.
Would it be on track for graduation?
Yes, that's the one I was talking. That's from Anonymous.
Oh yeah.
So
okay, right.
So Anne, Anonymous.
Okay.
The answer is, generally speaking, most students do make their change after their first year. They've decided which one they want to go into. So regarding, are you still on track for graduation? In other words, will you lose any ground? As I mentioned before, again, you're going to be taking the same math, calculus, physics classes, general education classes that other engineering major freshmen take as well. So you're not losing any ground there. There are, for example, some courses that you would take maybe your sophomore year that are more specific to general engineering and may not be specific to the engineering major you want to change to. So in many ways, again, we do everything we can to help guide you that first year, making sure that you are taking classes. And again, I'm an advisor here, so I do work with students. And one of the key things I will share with students, okay, let's look at classes. If it's not the second semester, your freshman year, it might be your first semester sophomore, even second semester sophomore year. Here are courses that may satisfy both majors. You might take this class versus taking a class that's only specific to one major if you're still undecided. So we look at making sure, again, that you graduate efficiently, whether you're changing your major or not. So that's always in our mind. That's why, again, as an advisor and what the Student Success Center attempts to do is to guide students through those paths.
Hey, Jesse, do you have the Q&A session scheduled for other majors with you?
The Q&A sessions for other.
Yeah. Can you look up bioengineering major? What time they will have their Q&A?
Yeah, so biomedical will be going on at 12 p.m.
Okay, at 12? Oh, at noon, huh?
I think Professor Hsu was asking Janeth about that question because I think it relates to your question about the biomedical engineering. So Janet, I'm not qualified. I'm not sure Dr. Hsu has that answer either, but please check out the Q&A session for biomedical engineering. What tutoring opportunities are available? Are they major specific? Tutoring options are available and they're not necessarily major specific. And there was a question earlier that was brought up and I don't think I addressed it, and I'd like to take the opportunity now. So for example, one of the key things that we really strongly encourage students to do or take when they start here at the College of Engineering, join a club, okay? Joining a club, an engineering club, is really important. For example, you look at tutoring opportunities. Many times you'll find out, hey, students have had a similar professor. Here's some of the homework assignments. Here's how to deal with some of the issues. Here's how to, maybe looking at problems from a different perspective. Again, it really helps you, especially if you're walking into a new college or a first-time college student. Having that support is really helpful. But we also have very formal organizations. For example, those peer connections where we do offer tutoring and mentoring. And right now, for example, we're still offering it, even though you don't do it on site in person, we offer it online. So there are resources, if you will, to help you in STEM related courses, not just engineering, not just math or physics, but other courses as well. So there are, and again, if you're looking at tutoring opportunities, I'm hoping maybe you're asking, how can you be a tutor, or you're asking, how can I get tutoring? So I'm not sure if I'm addressing either question, but if you're looking at tutoring in terms of offering as a service, you could join one of the resources I just mentioned, for example, something called peer connections, where actually your peers are helping you with some of your classes.
Do you offer summer classes? If so, will they be online? Well, normally I would say no, they probably would not be online, but of course now for this summer, all classes are online. I don't know what would happen next year, but at least this summer, all classes are online. So.
And next, for next fall, I asked this very question with a bunch of my peers and colleagues. Response was, and again, this is what's happening at other universities and colleges as well. They're all evaluating the current public health directives that are being issued. How does this look like in terms of the summer? And as Dr. Hsu already referred to, those are going to be online. Fall is still up in the air. Again, whether or not we're providing in-person classes or online classes. But again, that's across the country as well. All the universities are actually looking, again, but they're going to make that decision probably more than anything on the public health directives that are going to be issued for their particular state.
Well, I would say Silicon Valley, this is the answer to Mohammed's question. Silicon Valley company, we heard this all the time. They prefer to hire San Jose State graduates. I'm talking about engineering students. I can only speak for engineering students because they found that their experience has been that engineering students from San Jose State can get on the job and start contributing in a very short time, if not the first day, because our education tend to be more hands-on, more practical or practice-oriented, and we offer a very solid education. If you're comparing to other schools in Silicon Valley, perhaps other schools tend to cover some at different angle. But San Jose State, we very much focus on a hardcore engineering, hands-on engineering education. I don't know if that answers your question, but you can follow up by another question if that did not answer your question.
Yeah, and back to Dr. Shu's comments, we are the #1 provider of jobs in the Bay Area, not Stanford, not Berkeley, San Jose State. So there is an attraction beyond the College of Engineering as well that, again, employers in the Valley hire from. I was an employer in the Valley. I worked for a company called Synopsys, and I had a large organization, and San Jose State was one of our key, if you will, were our source of employees.
Yes, we graduate like close to 2,000 students every year. So I'm just talking about engineering students. So if you go into any Silicon Valley engineering firm company, you can find San Jose State alumni without questions.
The next question, Arian. Arian, I apologize if I mispronounce it. I'm taking a calculus class at a community college right now. Can those credits transfer to SJSU? Oh, very possible. The question is, okay, which class are you referring to? If it's a calculus class and it's in a community college, most community college classes or schools, if you will, do have or equivalent what are called articulated classes with San Jose State. So if it's a Calculus 1 class, chances are pretty good that, again, you're attending a community college class that does have an articulation agreement with San Jose State. So if it's Calculus 1, you're taking it at De Anza, you're taking it at West Valley or Evergreen College, it probably is equivalent to one of ours. So again, most community college classes, if you will, in the state, especially if you're looking at the calculus classes, they are equivalent. It's easy to check, by the way, Arian, and that is if you go to assist.org or info.ssu.edu, you can check to see which classes do articulate depending on the community college that you're attending. But again, if you're taking something here in California, chances are very good that that calculus class does transfer or will transfer over. So how does engineering departments help students with internship opportunities or the possibility of getting a job after your degree? So one of the things that, again, professors and so forth like myself and Dr. Shu are also people, again, that help in terms of identifying opportunities. But the real people that really help you get your career going is that from the Career Center. We have a Career Center. We have a dedicated person associated with the College of Engineering that does exactly that job, helps you with internships, helps you to write resumes, helps you identify the companies that would satisfy your career interests. We have career fairs that we have on a periodic basis. But again, internships, career opportunities, we've got a fantastic Career Center. Kelly, who comes over, for example, every week, once a week, for a few hours, works with engineering students in identifying those internships, as well as other possibilities. If you're looking at, you're a junior, senior, what career interest that might, again, if you're looking at. In fact, I would even argue those that come into general engineering that are not sure exactly what engineering major they take, we also have, again, through the Career Center, methods, if you will, tools that help determine, explore, if you will, other careers, aptitude tests that you might take and discover you've got aptitude for certain things that you didn't even know about. But again, we have an outstanding Career Center that could help you with that.
3-week summer Google Computer Science Camp. I think that might be offered by the Computer Science Department or our Computer Engineering Department. So I don't know the answer. Well, I'm sure if it is still going on, it's going to be online.
Hey, go ahead, Jesse.
Hi, Jesse.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just trying to put the questions so that if you answered it live into the answered section so that it will clear up the opened questions for you guys.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Work study highly available for students. Well, work study opportunities is always limited. What would you do in work study for an engineering major? I would say mostly limited to office work and perhaps some support to teaching labs. Yeah, that's typically the nature of the work study, job opportunities for. Right.
So Anthony, will SJSU accept discrete math as credit for Mission College? Again, I could check that. Again, you could talk to me, Anthony, or send me an email. And I can walk you through the process to confirm which classes, if they're taking them at Mission College, which one would satisfy it. So again, depending on your major, again, if you're looking at, I think, what is it, that discrete math, again, there are some majors that do require discrete math, if you will, but there are some majors that don't require discrete math. So depending on your major, again, it might be equivalent, but may not apply for your major. But again, you can just send me an email, Anthony. I can help walk you through the process of how to find it. But again, Mission College, and if you look at info.sjsu.edu, you can check to see whether that discrete math class does match our discrete math class here in the mathematics department.
Hey, Jack, are you in front of a whiteboard? If so, perhaps you can write your email and my email on the whiteboard. I guess not. I guess not. No, it's not.
I can do that. Well, no, it could be hard. Let me tell you what. I'll do that in just a second. If there's no more other questions, I'll go ahead and do that right now, and you can entertain them.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What are the top 5 companies that recruit from SJSU? That would be the question for Career Center. Top companies. If you list the top 5 big company in general in Bay Area, and likely those big companies are also our top companies recruit from SJSU. For engineering students, as you can imagine, that's a big company like Apple's, Amazon, eBay, and some company it's more specific hardware like Applied Materials. And there are many smaller or medium-sized companies recruit from San Jose State. So I don't know if our Career Center has a Q&A. Jack, do you know, does our Career Center have a Q&A session?
I do not know that. Again, okay. I could check. I know the agenda for the College of Engineering, but I'm not sure about the Career Center.
Right.
But let me do a quick check on that. For the email address, I apologize because my camera won't make the some of the whiteboard. If you look at our names, I think they're displayed on the screen that you might be looking at. So my email is my name, jack.warecki@sjsu.edu. And Dr. Shu's is ping.hsu@sjsu.edu. So all you need to put is a dot between our first and last name, and they're both at sjsu.edu. Let's see.
Offer spring transfer admission for civil engineering and mechanical engineering. I believe so. Just to be sure, you can check with them during their Q&A. I believe all engineering programs accept spring transfer.
All right, I'm looking up to see what the if Career Center is. Are there other questions on the list?
I think that's all.
I think that's all.
I think we reached the bottom of it. Oh, no, there's one more. Let's see. Will most of the classes from other schools can transfer to SJSU? Well, that depends on where the classes the students took it from. If you're talking about California Community College? And the answer is most likely yes. But even that, you should check with these transfer articulation agreement website. That's assist.org. If you're in community college, you probably know that website. From other school as out-of-state school or international foreigner institution, that would require a case-by-case evaluation.
I'm just going through the agenda for today, Saturday, and there are no events that are dedicated from the Career Center. I'm going to check again what we have for our events page to see if possibly Career Center might be here. They do not appear on our agenda as well. So the Career Center, from what I'm just seeing today, does not appear to be on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other questions we can help you with? Let's see, April 19th.
So we have a new question from Jose Sandoval asking, can each of you tell us what you majored in and places where you have worked?
Go ahead.
Okay, I have a PhD from UC Berkeley, electrical engineering. Before I came to San Jose State, I was a faculty member at University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. I came to San Jose State 30-some years ago, let me put it that way. And I'm a professor in electrical engineering, also as the director of general engineering. And prior to that, I was an electrical engineer in a company in Dallas, Texas. Jack?
I have a master's degree in mathematics from the Ohio State University. That's an inside joke, but again, some of you sports fans might recognize it. Anyway, I got into engineering as part of chip design. My first couple jobs were actually designing software using my math background to help computer people or people designing computer chips, whether it's application specific or custom chips, verify their designs. Again, without going too much detail, the logic design versus the layout of the actual chip. But that's how I got into engineering, if you will. But I have a math background again. But as a result of it, I ended up working for a couple companies, one called TRW that was acquired by Northrop Grumman, where we first did the CMOS chips. It's called BISIC, VHSIC, very high-speed integrated circuits. And from there, I went to a company called Synopsys, which I ended up being a senior vice president for 800 people organization, worldwide organization. And from my perspective, Synopsys, again, what they did, they developed software for companies like Intel, Motorola, Apple, Samsung, whatever company might be. Anybody doing electronics, developing chips, used our software. So I got a great experience, if you will, in terms of working with engineers, working with companies that were doing engineering, as well as, again, my organization was all related to engineering. This is from our release, so I'm going to read the question. Hopefully I can answer it. Where can students find the right courses to take when they are planning to go to a junior college first? Assist.org does not have anything on it that helps. My son is wanting to major in a computer engineering and the equivalent or closest major to computer science, and the data associated on Assist.org is about 4 years old. Well, let's see, a couple things you can do. First of all, you should look at the roadmap for your particular major at the school that you want to go to, okay? It is available on our websites as well. So you can actually find out the courses that are required for any particular major in the College of Engineering. What are the courses you need to take? Assist.org generally goes, it's not generally 4 years old, it's generally pretty much up to date, but info.sjsu.edu, which gets its information from Assist.org, is the most recent. So if you're looking at the latest information, I would check out info.sjsu.edu. If you check in under articulation under that tab, you can see for your college course to course, which ones are the equivalent courses. So again, I would do the info.sjsu.edu, which is the most recent sys.org, most recent up to date, which courses are equivalent. But check the roadmap. Look at the courses that they're asking students to take to graduate. That way you can determine, okay, what courses you need. And then based on, and again, it's a great idea, I think, looking at community colleges, those first 2 years. That way you can establish, again, here are the courses in math, physics, chemistry, whatever I might need. But again, these are the same courses that San Jose State accepts as well, that are articulated, are equivalent, if you will, to it. But check the roadmap.
Yeah, from junior college or community colleges, those courses are strictly what we call as a lower division courses, meaning that first 2 years, freshman and sophomore. And regardless of major, computer science, I'm not sure about computer science, okay. Computer engineering, their required courses in the first 2 years, they are pretty much the same as the required courses for all other engineering major. And they are all, well, they are mostly physics, chemistry, and math or calculus. So those courses, they don't change that often. So 4 years old data might still be valid. So just because those classes, they are very stable, like Chem 1A, well, I'm sure the content may have been improved or revised, updated, but at least the course is still Chem 1A. So I can't really think, well, perhaps there's 1 or 2 computer engineering or computer science specific courses, but that's pretty much it. The majority of the lower division courses are common to all engineering majors.
Can you tackle the international programs, Ping, that are available?
Specific for engineering students, we have a program that's called GTI, Global Technology Initiative. Students sign up or petition or apply to this program, and selected students get to go to our partner school. I think this time they are going to Finland this summer. In the past, they went to university in Taiwan, and they spent 3 weeks at our partner university, and they took classes, and that is the only international program specifically for engineering students. But at the university campus-wide level, there are exchange agreements with other universities, and so the student can certainly take advantage of that exchange agreement. And those are not specific to engineering students.
So it looks like we have 5 more minutes, maybe 1 or 2 more questions, and then we will probably need to wrap it up.
Okay, Mara Lee, I think your question is, computer engineering considered an impacted program and has a certain GPA required to be met to get in? The answer is yes. Computer engineering is one of those programs, along with software engineering, that they're high demand for, very competitive, if you will. So GPA plays a major role in getting into computer engineering or software engineering. Again, many of the engineering majors that are, again, in high demand, if you will, in industry, again, the reflection is based on, again, the students that want to get those majors. So yes, GPA plays a major role in getting in those majors.
About the question, student-faculty ratio, it varies depending on the type of classes. For common classes, the ratio tends to be higher, but for senior level elective, the ratio are generally lower. The overall average is about 20 to 25. All right, this is overall. And for department like computer engineering, you can imagine that that number is higher. For say other department tend to be a little bit lower. So that's the answer for that question.
You know anything about the last one from Skylar?
It's true that sound discovered the trail with transistor.
So the question for everybody while Dr. Shu was looking at it, is it true that San Jose State University discovers this trend with transistors where? Do you know any, do you have an answer to that? Dr.
No, I don't know anything specific about that. Transistors where?
Not sure.
Can you be a little more specific about transistors where? So, do you mean wearable electronics or? Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, we'll just take the credit for it. We discovered it.
Well, we still have a couple of minutes.
Is it chat room? Is this all, Jesse, does this include the chat room questions?
No, this should only just be the Q&A section.
Okay.
I'm looking at the chat. There are no questions in the chat either.
I see one from Alma. Do you offer spring transfer admissions for civil engineering?
We already answered that one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think Skylar gave me more detail, Dr. Shu.
Oh, okay. The period, the number of transfers I use to the time they last. Oh, let's see. Discover the trend with transistors are used to the time they last.
So they're talking about the lifetime of a transistor?
Yeah, the lifetime. I don't know the answer if that's discovered at San Jose State. You know, I guess that's not a new discovery. It's perhaps something that's a study done here, perhaps years ago.
The big difference between computer and software engineering is hardware. So for computer engineering, you are focusing a lot on the hardware, not just specific to software or programming. So you deal a lot with hardware. It could be, again, from a desktop computer to a network system. So again, the key difference there is working much more closely with hardware than the programming.
Environmental engineering major, we don't have an environmental engineering major. We have a department, civil engineering and environmental engineering, but the degree program they offer is civil engineering major. They offer courses in environmental engineering area, but the degree program, the major is civil engineering in that department. Environmental engineering is a part of the name of the department, but the degree, the major is just a civil engineering.
And how impacted is it? It's not as impacted as software or computer engineering. So right. Yeah, it's not as impacted as that.
Again, any department-specific question, I would recommend you just attend their Q&A session and ask their faculty directly.
Okay, so it looks like that's all the time that we have now. So
thank you all. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Professor Warnke, and thank you, Professor Shu, and thank you so much for all your excellent questions. So if you have any further questions, please email them to engineering@sjsu.edu. And at this time, I would like to invite you to exit this meeting and visit other sessions that may be of interest to you. So it is not unusual to start school in one engineering department and end up in another. So thank you for your time. Congratulations on being accepted as a Spartan, and we look forward to seeing you in the fall.
See you in the fall.
See you in the fall.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you so much.